What's up, guys? Snipe City Hockey here, back with another video, and today I'm going to be talking about the New York Rangers rebuild and how they can successfully rebuild this team and make them a playoff slash cup contender in the next 3 years. So really, it's very simple. Step one is they got to trade their older players. Obviously we got Matt Zuccarello here. But this isn't a necessary thing for all teams that are trying to go through a little bit of a rebuild. They got to get rid of their older players and try and get prospects or draft picks. You see this is a very common thing that teams do. And they got some good players here that they can get rid of and get some good prospects and get some decent, draft picks for, which they could turn into better players, or they could also draft them, obviously. So here's 4 guys that I think they should think about getting rid of here. Obviously, Matt Zuccarello, he's got to go. He's 30 years old. He could probably get a first-round pick for him, if not, pretty solid prospect. Kevin Shattenkirk right there, 29 years old. They just signed him last season, but I think they need to get rid of him. His contract's not too bad, but I think it'd be a good move for them to get rid of him. Here's kind of a controversial one. I think they need to trade Henrik Lundqvist, honestly. They're not going to be winning, if let's say they turn this whole thing around. Lundqvist's game has been slipping, alright? Like, I don't think Henrik Lundqvist at age 39 is going to be able to carry a team to a Stanley Cup. I just don't think that's possible. I think they should trade him to a contender, someone like Philly, maybe not a contender, but a playoff team who has goaltending issues that he could fix, and maybe they get hot. And hopefully he gets a cup before he retires, but he's not going to do that in New York. So I hope they trade him to a playoff caliber team that hopefully he can, if he stands in his head and the team has a hot streak, something like that, they can win the cup. And then Chris Kreider, he's 27 years old. He's still young. This is one that I could see them keeping, but I also think he's a lot of trade value. So I think they could get a lot for him. And he'll be, 30, 31 years old by the time they're starting to get good again, which is, nearing the end of his prime. So I could see them get rid of him. It's not necessary, but they could get rid of him. Step 2, they got to get rid of some bad contracts. They got like 2 or 3 contracts on this team that are horrible. I'm talking like these are some of the worst in the entire NHL. They got Mark Stahl signed at $5.7 million for another 3 years. I don't know what they were thinking when they signed this contract. But it's a horrible, horrible contract for someone who is a top 6 defenseman. He's not even top 4 anymore. He's a top 6 defenseman, and you're gonna have to take that 3 years. They gotta they buy him out something because this contract is horrible. Next we got Brendan Smith. Once again, just a terrible contract, $4.3 million over 3 years. I mean, he's probably their 6th defenseman. Like on an okay team, he's a 6th defenseman. He's a scratch on good teams. He's making 4.3 for the next 3 years, and then Matt Bolesky, $3.8 million for the next 2 years. He's an okay player, good like 4th line guy, but you want to pay your 4th line guy $3.8 million? I don't think so. So if they can find a way to get rid of these bad contracts, it'll really help them free up some money so they can sign some of their younger guys and then also be able to attract free agents. Step 3. In the draft this year, they have the 9th pick, the 26th, and they're going to have either the 28th or the 29th, depending on whatever slot Tampa gets. So they're going to have 3 first-round picks, okay? They need to draft the best available player on the board. Whoever they rate is the best available. You don't have needs, okay? Every single player that's on the list, take the best one available, okay? They need prospects. They have an okay prospect pool, okay? But they need to take the best available. I don't care if it's a defenseman, a center, left winger, right winger. You need to take whoever's the best available, okay? And hopefully they get some good defensemen because they need D. the most, and where they're slotted 9 through 10 on one of the mock drafts I read, they could get Evan Bouchard. That would be an amazing pick for them. But if somehow one of those guys who's supposed to go like 6 somehow slips to 9, you take them. I don't care if you need a defenseman. You need to take the best available. All right. So that's one way. Another way they can just get help this rebuild process. Don't take chances on guys either. Okay, like I don't know. Don't try to pick guys with a lot of potential. Like I always hear this whole thing with he has a lot of potential. Okay, but a lot of the guys who have a lot of potential end up not panning out. So I would just take the best guy available who has obviously needs to have good potential, but who's also going to be NHL ready next year or two. Obviously doesn't have to play this year, but he needs to be in the NHL 2-3 years down the line. Step 4, they need to be smart during free agency. What they did last year against John Kirk was not irresponsible, I don't think. They got signed him for a good term, good, money was solid. But they're going to have like $20 million in cap room, okay? Obviously, if they want, they could get John Tavares. He's still semi-young. They could offer him a ton of money. And you know what? I think like if they offer him a lot, he would go there. I think they give him, I don't know, $10 million a year or something like that. He might take it. But they need to be smart. Don't overpay for guys. You're going through a little bit of a rebuild. Do not overpay for players. If you have to tank 1 year, tank a year, get a high draft pick, and then whatever you do with that draft pick, you try to develop that prospect and make him. It's just gonna be don't go out and overpay for somebody that doesn't deserve all the money just because you have the cap space. And if you do 1 year deals, do not sign these guys for 3-4 years at these huge $6 million cap hits 1 year, because you have the money for the year. So if you maybe make a run, something like that, you somehow make the playoffs, okay, but don't overpay and give the guy long term. Step 5, give your prospects time to develop. Too many times you see teams rush prospects into the league and they end up just not being able to handle the pressure of the NHL. And honestly, they become bust because they're, some players, they're going to be bust. It's going to happen every single year. There's bust, and it's going to happen. But the best way to avoid bust is give your players time to develop in the AHL and the, CHL. Give your guys time to develop and don't rush them. Make sure they're ready. And once they're ready, all right, let's bring them up and let's see how they do. So they actually have a pretty solid prospect pool. They got Igor Shesterkin. He was drafted in 2014, 118th overall. He's the 9th ranked prospect in all of hockey that's not currently playing the NHL. And he's the second on that list. So obviously that's right there. That's the guy who can take over. He can take over Lundqvist's spot eventually in a year or two. Next up, we got Elias Anderson. Yes, that is the guy. I don't know if any of you guys saw this, but when he played for Team Sweden at the World Juniors, and he was the captain, and he got his silver medal, and he threw it into the crowd. It's actually a very funny video. If you haven't seen it, I definitely suggest you look it up. Makes me laugh every time I watch it. And he was drafted last year, 7th overall, and he's the 13th ranked prospect in all of, it's the 13th ranked prospect. Next up, we got Philip Chytil. I think that's a Hytel. I don't know how to pronounce this guy's name. He was drafted 21st overall last year, and he is the 27th ranked prospect in all of hockey. Next up, we got Libor Hajek. He was drafted in 2016, 37th overall. They got this in the Ryan McDonough, JT Miller trade, and then they also got Brett Howden. He was also drafted in 2016, 27th overall, and that was also in that Tampa Bay trade. So they got some good young prospects here, as you can see, and really, these guys just need time to develop. Give them a year or two and bring them up, and then you guys got some solid players that will be in your future for a while. All right. And then lastly here, give it time. As I've been saying this entire thing, you're not going to be able to turn a team around and win a cup within a year, okay? Give this team time. Give your prospects time, okay? Pick your spots in free agency. And I think this team has a legitimate chance in 3-4 years. They do everything right to be in the Stanley Cup contention for sure. Now, like I said, they got to give it time. You can't be rushed into trying to win. I know it's New York and it sucks because they're expected to be in the playoffs every year. We've seen it with Detroit where they, sometimes they made deadline deals that they shouldn't have because they had the pressure of like keeping that streak alive. I believe because they missed the playoff this year, they might have pressure to win it next year. Don't feel the pressure. Just give it time. Don't rush. Smooth and steady, all right? And I believe you guys will do great in 3-4 years down the line as long as you draft well. Alright guys, so that's the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. If you did reach the end of the video, if you did enjoy it, go ahead and hit the like button. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe. It helps me out a lot. And, you get to see some great content like this. Posting videos weekly, probably 2-3 times, depending on the week. And anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Snipe City Hockey out.